Good morning, here we are, smoking on a Sunday again. Who's the most excited? Just Jace? Okay. Today we're gonna do pork shoulder. As you can see, we have a bunch of different things out today. All of our spices, have our wood for smoking, and actually the most essential thing, the coffee, get you going in the morning. We're gonna put some coleslaw, we're gonna put them on some pretzel roll buns, and we're gonna do some potatoes as well. Taking a little bit of feedback from one of my followers. Yes, one of my followers. Follow me on YouTube, SmokinOnSunday's channel.
Yeah, this is Jace.
Somebody actually asked me to show the recipe as we go along. So we're gonna try that today. All right, here we go. First things first, start with coffee. Yes. Okay, for our first segment today, we're gonna be focused on soaking the wood. Now, there's a big debate out there on which wood is better, cherry wood versus hickory versus mesquite. I personally am not a big fan of worrying about it. I get whatever's available and sale in the store. Today, we're gonna be using both wood chunks and wood chips. And we're gonna be doing something a little bit differently today than we've done in the past. We're actually gonna soak the wood with onions and with garlic. So we have about 1/4 of an onion in the bucket already. And I've asked my helper here to help me with the other pieces. We get a couple garlic cloves, put those in there. Just pop them right in there. And then we could get these wood chunks here and place the wood chunks inside the bowl and then pour the water in. Now what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be submerging these wood chunks to make sure that they're fully covered with the water. But the key piece here is that we're putting the onion and the garlic in the water as well. Give the wood a nice little flavor at smoking. So once you get all of the wood chips into the bowl, what I like to do is put something on top. In this case, we'll go ahead and use the Pyrex bowl on top to make sure all the wood is fully submerged. We usually do this about 2, 3, 4 hours ahead of the smoking process if you're going to put any kind of vegetables like onions and garlic. If not, 20 or 30 minutes is fine. Now it's time for the rub. My rub is a very simple recipe of garlic and onion powder, salt, pepper, and cayenne. There's one tip I would give you. I think a little bit of extra pepper always does well to establish a really good crust on the outside of the pulled pork. So we'll get the garlic and onion powder in here, the salt, coarse salt, freshly ground pepper, and a little bit of cayenne to give it a nice little kick. And we'll mix this up and then we'll fully put it onto the pork shoulder. Now when applying the rub, I think the easiest way to do this is just, grab a handful, give it a nice little sprinkle. But then you have to come back, this is the key. You have to come back and make sure it's worked into the meat. There's nice little spots. Like, see, there's a really good spot right there. You gotta make sure it finds those little extra spots where you can get this nice rub inside of the meat. And make sure you get it all over the meat and all sides, the top side, the bottom side, and everything around. Okay, we have the rub applied on the meat. Again, very thoroughly applied, trying to make sure you work it in with your fingers to all the different spots, all those little nice and, I call them crooks and crannies. And as you can tell, the pepper will actually create a really, really nice sort of surface. And then as it's smoking, it'll turn it into a really, really nice bark. I guess the one other thing we didn't talk about was choice of meat. When it comes to pulled pork, it's pretty straightforward. You can go to any butcher and they'll get it, or they'll have it for you. The one thing you need to make sure that you have when you have a pulled pork and you're smoking it, make sure you have some good thickness here. As you notice that this is a nice thick piece of the shoulder. Sometimes they'll cut it in half and you'll have only, about 1/2 inch or so. You want to make sure you have at least 1 inch, maybe 2 inches of thickness. The other thing that's really important is this bone in the middle. This bone right here has become really key. It'll hold it together. It'll lock the juices in. This will end up coming out before we eat it, obviously, but This is also important. And then the last thing you want to make sure of is you have a really nice fat cap on the on one of the sides. That's pretty much it. No need to overly marinate this or let it sit for too long. We're gonna let this sit for a couple of hours just because I've got other things to do today. So off we go. Next step will be smoke all out. So here we are getting ready to put the meat on the grill. Very simple charcoal. Charcoal is the key. What I like to do is get a half moon full of charcoal, get it all lit up, get it ready to go, and then I have my spare over here. As we've talked about, these wood chips are nice and soaked. As you can tell, we've had them in the onion and garlic soak, so we'll see how that works out. And then I also have this basin that I'm going to put underneath the meat. It's a combination of water, apple cider vinegar, and some lemons. It'll give a really nice sort of flavor as it smokes, as well as it will also keep it a bit moist. And then we have our temperature gauge. All right, we're going to be moving these charcoals around over to the side, and we'll pick it up just here in a second. So we got the grill ready. I actually put a little bit of olive oil on the grill itself just to make sure that the pork won't stick. You see that I have the water basin underneath it full of apple cider and water. Put a couple lemons in there. You notice that the fire's got a nice sort of gray charcoal look to it. There's a little bit of flame in there, just enough. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take one of these big logs that we have here, stick it over here in the corner, and then as we said before, there's a nice handful of chips in here too. We'll grab some of those chips out. Chips and put them on. What we want to do is we want to establish a really nice smoke. As you can tell, we're starting to get it already. Oh, there's some onions in the way. And the other thing, I don't know if you can see or not, but right in the bottom of the grill, you'll notice that there's holes in the bottom of the grill, which lets the air come through. And when we put the lid on here in just one sec, you'll also notice that we also have a full opening up on the top. Now, what we want this temperature gauge to get to is right between 225 and 250. So the way we control that is basically either opening or closing this guy. Again, if it's open, we're gonna see it get a little bit hotter, and if it's too hot, we'll go ahead and close it out. As you can see, there's a little bit of smoke coming off the top. Starting to work it up already. All right, we'll catch you back in a little while. Okay, while the pork is on the smoker, we have prepared potatoes, Julienne style, and we are letting the butter soften up a little bit in some salt and pepper. In addition, we've created the coleslaw mixture, a little bit of salt and pepper, mayonnaise, pickle juice, apple cider vinegar, and sugar. And instead of slicing up all of the slaw contents, I took the easy way out and just bought the rainbow salad and get it ready. We're not gonna mix this up just quite yet. We'll wait till the end to mix it up so it doesn't get a little soggy and so the cabbage can stay crisp. So we've been smoking for about a half an hour or so. As you can see, our temperature is exactly where we want it. It's a little bit, maybe a little bit higher. In this case, one of the cheater things I like to do is if I have to go run an errand or if I'm gonna be out of the house for 45 minutes to an hour, I'll try to get the coals a little bit hotter and then try to let them settle down a little bit over time. You can see we've got a little bit of smoke coming out of the top. Go ahead and check on this guy real fast, see how he's doing. So you can tell we've got really good color. We've got good smoke going on the side. I threw a sweet potato on there as we were gonna go ahead and cook. You're starting to see the coloration on the top. Nice fire. One of the cheater things I like to do here too is just take a couple of these charcoal pieces, put them on the side, and what will happen is over time the fire will actually come over to the side and it'll light up the other side and make it keep the temperature. All right, we'll check back on this later. Okay, we're gonna check back in on the pork. We're about 3 hours in. Temperature is still around 225, 250. We are lacking a little bit of smoke, but we have the heat. Look at this. Nice bark, nice crust around the outside. The pork side is doing really good, or the fat side, sorry, is doing also very good. You can start to see the caramelization, the drippings on the bottom. We're looking really good. You can also see it sweating a little bit, which means it's getting the right amount of heat in there. So we're gonna treat this fire a little bit more, put some more smoke on there, give it a little bit more time. Give it a nice little check on the temp gauge. We're at 150, we got another 50 degrees or so to go. Okay, we're about at the 6-hour mark. Coleslaw is made. Our pretzel rolls are ready to go. Cutting board is ready for that pork shoulder. Let's check in on our potatoes. Potatoes are nice and done. Give them a little bit more butter sauce on the top just to get them going. We'll put these guys back in here on warm for a little bit. Now let's go check out that pork. Okay, we're gonna give the pork a bit of a test here. Look at that bark. That is phenomenal. It's nice. Nice. You can barely even see the bone on the top of that. We're gonna go ahead and give this guy a little bit of a test. And this is another one of those cheater tricks. If you come over here on the side, I'm gonna give this guy a nice little poke in the side. And if he comes off really easy like that, you know he's just about done. So you got that nice pink flavor in there. Just about ready to go. All right, we just pulled the pork off the smoker. As you can tell, it's got a really nice bark. It's holding in the juice. The next thing we need to do is we need to lightly tent the top with aluminum foil. And what this guy is gonna do is it's gonna keep it warm and let it set. The pork is rested for a good 15-20 minutes. And then when you peel it open, you can see the nice smoke ring around the outside. You can see the pink on the outside and then the cooking on the inside. The juices are still flowing out. It's exactly the way it'll work. And when it's all done, that's exactly what it looks like. Bon appetit.